So here is my Wahoo Kickr Core, and this is the Bluetooth LE device we're going to be connecting to and trying to set the resistance and or the power today.
Okay, so for this Kickr Core, it basically falls under this fitness machine Bluetooth specification. And when you click on this, it'll download the fitness machine, and I'll open the specification in a moment. Here we go. So there's quite a lot of information in here, and as we get going with it, we're going to refer back to this document. So for the moment, I'm just going to minimize it. I'm going to open Visual Studio for our quick Bluetooth LE project. Again, it's not an object-oriented exercise just yet. It's just to actually see the quickest way that we can now write a value to a Bluetooth device. And the first thing we want to do is just make sure that the device is on. So I've got it on here at the back, and then what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be having a look at what devices come up. So we're just going to quickly run it. Take a moment. This is just my output. Okay, so indeed the one I want to connect to is this Kickr Core 802B, and what I'm going to be doing is I didn't want the XML, I just wanted the text, and I'm just going to copy that text. But before we start modifying the code from last time, let's just open a console in that folder, and I'm just going to create a new branch for the work we're going to be doing, and we can just say get branch, and we can call it, it's a feature branch that we'd like to make, and we can just call it Kickr Core and get checkout feature Kickr Core. Okay, great stuff. So indeed, we're not looking at the heart rate monitor at the moment. So what I will do, and because we want a reference to the device, so we can just say if the arguments.name equals my copied value, let's just return the device. I suppose we don't have to have brackets there. We're not going to have the heart rate monitor come back, so the device that will be returned will just be the, I accidentally started the debugger. Let's just try again. Okay, so it's going to be the Kickr Core that comes back. And then there's a couple of things we'd like to do. So if we look at our code, basically we're saying monitor devices. As the devices come up, we're going to say, you know, at the bottom here, what are the device names? So let's just see if we run it, what comes up. Maybe my watch will come up. There's a couple of things that can come up. Okay, there's a Kickr Core 802B. That's the one we want to connect to. And once we connect to it, we're going to just change this code a little bit, so it's a little bit more easy to see what we have. So when we press any key, we're just gonna, it's just going to be one device at the moment. Maybe in the next video, in one of the next videos, we'll look at the making this little useful library, and I'll definitely be adding like 3 devices to it. So it'll be my Kickr Core, my Wahoo heart rate monitor, the ticker, and there's a cadence sensor as well. And then any devices that you guys want to add, if you want to contribute to a little project and make it useful, please contribute to it. But right now, the state of the project is just to actually see if we can set the resistance value. Okay, so next, what we'd like to do is, in our code, we were looking if it is the heart rate service and the UUID, or the little bit of the UUID that we're interested in is 180D. Now, on the Bluetooth LE site, there's a 16-bit UUID numbers document, and there's a large number of values here. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to copy and paste all these values and then just put them in a little class so we can access all of them. So we know all the manufacturers, all the Gatt services, all the characteristics. There's like a huge amount of stuff here. I'm just going to put them all in a class so that we can look up this little UUID value and get the correct thing. And it is so for the fitness profile or the fitness machine as well. So if we do a fitness machine, let's just see what we get for fitness. There's a fitness machine feature. That's one of them that we want. There's fitness machine control point, and there's fitness machine status. So there's quite a lot of different in terms of a Gatt service. It's this 1826. So what we'll be doing right now is I'll just quickly create the class, and I'm not going to demonstrate how I do this. I'm just going to copy and paste the stuff and create the class, and then when I'm done, I'll just show you what's in the class. Okay, so let's just have a look. I created a Gatt service UUID class. It's very simple. It's got a dictionary with a key that's the actual GUID part of the GUID that we're looking for, and then a tuple that's got the kind of the type and then the actual name. So in the beginning, it's like, who's the creator of this device? So it's PayPal or Google or whoever is creating the little devices, or Wahoo in the case of what I'm doing. And then as we're going down, there's the characteristics and the services. So anything that we want to look up in terms of UUID. So for example, we're looking for a fitness machine. There's a fitness machine, and we're going to see this 1826 in a moment. So what we're going to do next is we're just going to go back to the application, and then instead of looking for the heart rate service ID, we're going to take this out, and we will print out each service. So let's just do that. Let's just do print out of service dot device or UUID. Okie dokie. And let's just take this out. It's the curly bracket. And then what we're going to be doing for each service, so let's just see what comes back. We didn't say found heart rate service. Let's just make it a little bit better, a bit more descriptive. And then we can say service dot, does it have a name? Let's just have a look. Device, no it doesn't, but it doesn't really matter. So let's just print the service ID out, and then for each characteristic we're going to print the characteristic ID out as well. So we got the characteristic status. We don't want to do that. Can maybe do it here. So we're just formatting the thing a little bit, and we'll print out the characteristics dot UUID as well. And maybe what we'll do here is we'll just format it a little bit, put a tab in front of it, print out each of the characteristics. Yes, and then what we'll do here, we'll expand this as well. So just let's do 2 tabs, and we'll say, oh, spelling mistake, property found, and we'll expand on this in a moment. So let's just see what we get when we run this. So our device will pick up that it's the Kickr Core. Press enter. It's going to attempt to pair with the device. Okie dokie, there we go. So here we see all the things we are interested in. Okie dokie, and the one we're looking for is this 1826. So we still have some code that is actually looking at values, which we don't want to do right now. No, it's not here. Sorry, it's where we're monitoring values. We'll get back to this when we join all the devices in. Okie dokie, so let's just have a look what we're getting. So there we go. So we'll pair it with the device. And indeed, the one we're looking for is this 1826 that's coming up. This one, 1826. And there's a couple of notify properties that's been found. And what we are going to be doing next is just printing out what we can find. So if it's a notify property, we're looking at that. And let's see what's here. So there's authenticated signed rights. I don't think we're looking at broadcast extended properties, indicate none, notify, reliable rights. I think we're mainly looking for stuff that we can write, but you know, let's just do a write. Say we've got a write property that we found. And I don't want to look at the characteristics at the moment. So I think the characteristics have each characteristic also has a, let's just do that. And we've got a UUID for that as well, and we've got a write property. You can add all the properties that you're looking for. We just want to be able to write stuff. So that's a write property. Write without response. We're not going to be using that today. So let's just have a look at what that does. So it should find my Kickr Core. Bear with it. And okie dokie, so we just need to change the formatting a little bit, but it's looking good. So we do have a write property 289. Okay, so let's just change this a little bit. I actually want the UUID of the properties there as well. Okay. And if we find a write property, we will see how we can write the values in a moment. So to make life a little bit easier for the characteristics, because we've got the UUIDs for the characteristics as well. So what we're going to be doing next is we'll define a characteristic key that will be similar to what we had before. let's just do that. So once we have the characteristic, so we'll just say characteristic key equals the characteristic dot UID, and we're going to do a toString, kind of similar to what we had before, and a substring. So we're just looking at that first, or not the first, but about 4 characters, and just want to convert it to uppercase because our Gatt service is using uppercase. Yes, it is. Okay. And then we're just going to do a little bit of, we'll just say our characteristic, the name of the characteristic. The default value is unknown because we may not find it. And then we're going to have a look at the Gatt service UID dot the lookup dictionary dot contains key. If it contains the characteristics key, then we're just going to give it a value of what's in the dictionary, else it's going to be unknown. Okay, and then we can say we've got the characteristic name, and it's UUID, it's full UUID. And we of course want, I think it's the second item, just to see what the name of the thing is. Yes. Okay, so let's have a look at what it does now. Okay, let's just fix that. We'll do that in a moment. Okay, I just made a small typo there. What we would like is to convert it. So that's almost correct. Let's just break in it here and we'll have a look. Okay, let's bear with the device. Let's see what we get here. Indeed, we're getting the key, and indeed we will get a name. So device name, let's just run through this, and it's getting a little bit more interesting now. So there's quite a lot of stuff that's unknown. Some stuff is proprietary, it seems, and the main one we're interested in is this 1826. So it's the fitness machine control point is the actual one we're interested in, and you can see there's a write property there. That's right there on the fitness machine control point. So once we got a reference to this, we can actually see if we can start writing. Okay, so we had our heart rate service. We're going to define another static variable called the fitness machine, and that is 1826. Okay, so you just have to put your device or the one that you want to connect to here, and let's just go back here. So that's the kicker, and then what we want to make sure is if we're connecting, where's our services? Let's just have a look. Okay, so we're going to put back a if statement here, So if our service dot UUID dot toString, that's the format we want, dot substring 4,4 equals. So let's just make sure everything is okay. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. We can make that like that. Okay, so we have the fitness machine. We'll just print out the characteristics for the fitness machine, and that'll simplify life a little bit. Let's see what happens now. So pairing with the device, and it'll list all the devices, all the services, the Gatt services, and now we found the fitness machine. Okay, so the one we're looking for is this a write property that we have found on the fitness machine control point. So we could be looking at another although there's only one write property. So in essence, we could be filtering the fitness machine control point as well. So maybe we can do that just to clean it up a little bit. So let's have a look. Well, maybe it's not necessary. Let's just look at how we would write the values. So we have the values, and I'm going to open the fitness machine documentation next, and then we can just have a look at what it is that we need to do to actually write values to it and give it a new value. Okay, so let me open this document. I'm going to be doing a particular search because I know where the thing is I'm looking for. Okay, so the fitness machine control point procedure, and I do encourage you to read through the documentation if you have it on the bluetooth.le site or actually from the manufacturer. And what we'll be looking at next is, okay, so one of the things we need to do if we want to set any values, and it is described in this document, that we are going to send it a opcode of 00 or just 0 in general, and that will request control. We're not going to send any other values. And then we can, for example, reset the fitness machine. And if we go down a little bit, we can set the target resistance value. And let's just have a look if we click on it. So the procedure requires control permission. So first the request control, and when set target resistance level opcode is written to the fitness machine control point and the result code is success, the server shall set the target resistance level to the value sent as a parameter. And I think that is more or less it. So let's have a look at doing this. Okay, so we're going to go back to the Microsoft website about devices and a Gatt client. So it's under the Gatt client section of the Bluetooth under Universal Windows, UWP, the Universal Windows Platform. So there's a section called Perform Read-Write Operations on the Characteristic, and that's precisely what we did last time. We looked at reading the characteristic, and this time we're just going to have a look at writing it. So it's very simple. We're just going to copy this little bit of code, and here where we can write, we're just filtering on a particular result and just say result write, and our characteristic is actually not selected characteristic but just characteristic. So a little bit of modification, check if it's successful, then we can just say, okay, so the first one we want to do is, I think we just want to write one value, and that is to fitness machine. Let's just go back a little bit. Where is this now? Yes, here we go. So to request control, we're just going to send 0. So we can use the X values or int values, doesn't really matter. So we're just going to send 0, and then we'll just say that control request success. Okay. And what this does, it will request control from the Gatt server, and then immediately after that, so there's no other parameters, there's just one value, 1 byte value that we're sending, and then we're going to look at just to reset the device for in case there was something else. So it is actually quite simple. We will look at converting these things to proper object-oriented stuff with commands, etc. So here we're just going to reset the device and reset request success, and then at the same time we're going to have a look at setting the target resistance. Okie dokie, so that's 4, and the level. So now the level is an interesting thing. We're going to deal with the level in a moment, but we can read the properties for the level, and I'm going to show it to you shortly. So to read the property, what we're going to be doing, so we have a read property. Okie dokie. And what we will do here is just the same as all these things. So we're going to write the read property found. Great stuff. And let's just have a look what it brings back. I am actually going to not write the values just now, but we should find that read property shortly. It's all the Gatt services. There's the one we're looking for. Okay, let's just see what happens here. Okay, we got control, and we've asked it to be reset. I am surprised that we're not seeing the read property. Let's just have a look. That is interesting. Okay. I was expecting it to find a read property there. Let's just run it again. Just want to debug this. Okay. Oh yes, there is a read property. And let's just write it out. So let's just have a look at what we found here. So there's a training status. Oh, there's the supported resistance level range, and that's one of our read properties. So let's just have a quick look at how we can get that back. So what we have to do is we only want to do this if our characteristic name is the supported resistance level range. So that's what we got there. And once we know what that is, it's very similar code to what we had last time. I'm just going to copy and paste it here. It's very simple. Let's just have a look at that. So we're going to read value async. We're going to have a look at the status. It was successful. We're going to use a data reader. We're going to get the bytes. And we will just read all the values, and then we'll just break in here and we'll have a look at what we get. And from playing around with it yesterday, it's 0 to 100. So, and that was just what we wanted to know. So the resistance level is like a percentage. Let's just see when we get into this. Okay, so it's going to read the value. So there's the bytes that we have, and one can go have a look at the spec, but basically it's from 0 to 100, and I think the increment is 1, so you can go 0, 1, 2, 3. So now that we know the range there, we're going to go back here to where we're writing the value. So we've requested control, and your device may be a little bit different, but this one you need to request control, and I've reset it, and I'm just going to copy this again. Of course, terrible to do it like this. And from my documentation, it's 4 to set the resistance level. And the actual value I want to set is then, let's just make it the maximum, which is 100. It can be a hexadecimal value, so it could be 0x64, which is the x for 100. Okay, so, and then instead of resistance request success, so let's just have a look at this. We'll run it again. Okie dokie. So there we go. So we can set the value. And it was happy doing it. And we can also read the possible values again. That's fine. We're not doing anything with it. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll actually just test if the resistance was set. It's a little bit difficult to show you on the video. Maybe I'll take a little video of on my iPhone just to show that it's actually quite difficult to rotate the thing. And then we can set the value to 0 and test it again. So I'll probably cut over to that video in a second. So here I've set the resistance, and I can tell you it's almost impossible to turn it. And what I'll do next is just set the resistance to 0, and then we'll take a little video of that as well. Okay, so to set the resistance to 0, we'll just make it 0. We'll run it. Let's just put the light back on me. Okay. It's going to pair to the device. Once it gets the fitness level we wanted, we can see that the resistance request was set, and I'm going to test it again on my iPhone and get. Okay, so here is the new resistance value.
and it's quite easy to move. As you can see, the resistance level is not 100. Could hardly move it when it wasn't 100, so it's very easy to set the things.
Okay, so that basically brings us to the end of the second video on the Quick Bluetooth LE. Some people have been asking or saying they're battling to write values to their devices. Unfortunately, I only have a KickrCore Core to write values to. You probably would need the specifications of the device if it's a device that's not documented, or if it's not a complete open standard that's documented in the Bluetooth LE site. But for example, for the KickrCore, the fitness characteristics, it's really easy setting the resistance levels and stuff. So you just basically write the values, and in the next video we'll have a look at how we can take this, make a little quick Bluetooth LE class, class library, and we can make it, we can put it on GitHub, and if you guys would like to download it, then you'd be able to easily connect to new devices and then just implement some interfaces to actually interact with the device. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and like the video, and click the bell for notifications for the next video that will be coming out in this series. Thank you.